Stepson told his girlfriend I was desperate for his approval and clingy, so I approved his move back to his father's overcrowded apartment, permanently. His mother finally saw who he really was. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. You know what I learned? Some people mistake your patience for weakness. They think your kindness is desperation. They'll take everything you give them and then mock you behind your back for giving it. Well, this is the story of how I gave my stepson exactly what he wanted, and watched him realize too late that he'd thrown away the best thing in his life. My name is Marcus. I'm 44. I work in construction management, and for the past 11 years I thought I was building a family. Turns out I was just funding an ungrateful kid's lifestyle while he treated me like a convenient ATM with legs. This story still makes me furious, but it also taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. Never sacrifice your dignity for someone who sees that sacrifice as pathetic. Let me take you back to when this nightmare began. I met Sarah when I was 33. She was 31, recently divorced, with an 8-year-old son named Tyler. His biological father, Kevin, was what you'd generously call a weekend warrior. Big promises, zero follow-through. He'd show up with expensive toys twice a month, take some Instagram photos, then disappear back to whatever girlfriend he was living with that month. Sarah was exhausted, working as a dental hygienist, struggling with rent, constantly stressed about childcare. Tyler was a good kid, but he needed stability. He needed a father figure who would actually be there. So I became that person. For 11 years. When Sarah and I got married, Tyler was 9. He didn't seem thrilled about it, but he wasn't hostile either. I took it slow. I didn't try to replace his dad, I just tried to be present. School pickups when Sarah worked late, homework help, teaching him to ride a bike, throw a football, change a tire. I paid for everything: his clothes, his school supplies, his baseball equipment, his summer camps. When he wanted to learn guitar, I bought the instrument and paid for lessons. When he got interested in computers, I built him a gaming setup that was better than most adults had. I was there for every scraped knee, every bad grade, every friend drama, every teenage crisis. When Kevin would inevitably cancel his weekend visits, I'd step in with activities to cheer Tyler up. Movies, mini golf, fishing trips, whatever it took to make him feel wanted. For years I told myself it was working. Tyler wasn't calling me dad, but he was polite, respectful. We had good moments, working on projects together, talking about his future, celebrating his achievements. But as he got older, things started changing. It began with small things. He'd forget to say thank you when I bought him something. He'd roll his eyes when I offered to help with homework. He started referring to me as Marcus instead of the stepdad he'd used before, and when people asked about his family, I suddenly didn't exist. At 16, he got his first serious girlfriend, a girl named Jessica from his school. That's when everything went to hell. Tyler started spending more time at her house, which was fine. But when he was home, he treated me like hired help. He'd ask for rides without saying please. He'd leave messes for me to clean up. He'd use my truck without asking and bring it back empty. Sarah noticed too, but she made excuses. He's a teenager. They're all like this. He'll grow out of it. But I was starting to see the pattern. Tyler had learned that he could take everything I offered while giving nothing back. And why wouldn't he? I'd been enabling it for years. The wake-up call came 3 months ago. I'd come home early from a job site to grab some blueprints I'd forgotten. Sarah was at work, and Tyler didn't know I was there. I could hear him on the phone in his room, and when I heard him mention my name, I stopped to listen. What I heard destroyed me. "Yeah, Marcus bought it for me," he was saying, laughing. "Dude is so desperate for my approval, it's pathetic. He follows me around like a lost dog, trying so hard to be my dad. It's honestly embarrassing." I stood there, frozen. "The guy's 44 and clingy as hell," he continued. "Like, I get it. You married my mom. You want me to like you. But it's so obvious and desperate. Jessica thinks it's creepy how hard he tries." My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. "He bought me this entire gaming setup just hoping I'd hang out with him more. Pathetic, right? Like, thanks for the free stuff, but that doesn't make you my dad." The call ended, and I stood in my own hallway, in the house I was paying for, listening to a kid I'd raised for 11 years call me desperate and pathetic. A kid I'd sacrificed everything for, who was mocking me to his girlfriend while using the computer I'd built for him. That night I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past 11 years, every time I'd gone out of my way for him, every dollar I'd spent, every weekend I'd given up, every moment I'd put his needs before my own. And he thought I was desperate, clingy, embarrassing. The next morning I made a decision. I was done. But I didn't blow up. I didn't confront him. I just started pulling back, way back. No more reminders about homework or chores. No more offers to help with projects. No more checking if he needed anything. I became polite but distant, civil but cold. Tyler noticed after about a week. "Are you mad at me or something?" he asked one evening. "Not at all," I replied calmly. "Just giving you the space you want." He looked confused but didn't push it. 2 weeks later, he came to me with a request that made me see red. "Hey, Marcus," he said casually. "I'm thinking about taking a gap year before college. Maybe stay here and work for a while. Save up some money. Sound good?" I looked at him, really looked at him. This kid who'd just spent 3 months mocking me behind my back was now assuming he could live in my house rent-free for another year. "Actually," I said slowly, "I think it's time you moved in with your real dad." His face dropped. "What?" "Kevin. Your biological father. The one whose approval actually matters to you." "Dude, what are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Yes, I'd recorded our conversation from that day. I'm not stupid, and I knew I'd need proof. His voice filled the room. "Marcus is so desperate for my approval, it's pathetic. Clingy as hell. Embarrassing." Tyler's face went white. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did. And that's fine. You're right. I'm not your real dad. So maybe you should go live with someone whose opinion you actually value." Sarah walked in just as the recording ended. She'd heard the whole thing. "Tyler," she said quietly, "is that really how you feel?" He started stammering, trying to explain, but Sarah held up her hand. "You called the man who raised you desperate and pathetic? The man who's been there for every single thing that's ever mattered in your life?" Tyler looked between us, panic setting in. "I was just venting to Jessica. I didn't mean—" "You meant every word," I said calmly. "And now you're going to live with the consequences." Here's where it gets interesting. Kevin lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with his current girlfriend, Monica, and her 4 kids from previous relationships. The kids ranged from ages 6 to 14, and they were a lot. Monica worked nights, Kevin worked days, and the apartment was chaos. Tyler had been there exactly twice in the past year for weekend visits that got cut short both times because he couldn't handle the noise. But I didn't care. He wanted his real dad? He could have him. "Pack your things," I told him. "You're moving out this weekend." "Mom!" Tyler turned to Sarah, expecting her to save him. Sarah looked at her son, really looked at him, and I saw something change in her face. Disappointment, disgust, maybe even a little bit of hatred. "No," she said firmly. "You made your choice. You think Marcus is desperate? You think he's embarrassing? Fine. Go live with someone who's not." Tyler tried everything: tears, anger, bargaining, promising to change. But Sarah and I were united for the first time in months. That weekend, I helped him pack. Not out of kindness, I just wanted him gone. Kevin showed up in a beat-up Honda Civic, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. "This is really necessary?" he asked. "Tyler says I'm not his real dad," I replied, "so I figured his real dad should take over." The apartment was exactly as chaotic as I'd expected. Monica's kids were screaming, cartoons were blasting on the TV, and there was barely enough space for Tyler's stuff. He got a corner of Kevin's bedroom with an air mattress. "This is temporary," Tyler said as we unloaded his things. "I'll be back." I didn't respond. Over the next few weeks, my phone rang constantly. Tyler calling from Kevin's apartment, begging to come home. He told me about sleeping on the floor, about Monica's kids using his stuff, about Kevin's girlfriend treating him like an unwelcome guest. I didn't answer a single call, but I did keep track of what was happening, because I'm petty like that. Kevin lasted exactly 3 weeks before he started trying to dump Tyler back on us. Apparently, having a teenager full-time was cutting into his lifestyle. Monica didn't want Tyler there permanently, and Kevin couldn't afford to support him on his sporadic income. Tyler tried coming back twice. Both times I met him at the door and sent him away. "But I live here," he said the second time, tears streaming down his face. "No," I replied calmly. "You live with your real dad. That's what you wanted." Sarah stood behind me, arms crossed, saying nothing. My wife, his mother, had completely given up on him. The third time he showed up, he brought a letter. A long, desperate apology about how he didn't understand what he had, how sorry he was, how he'd do anything to come back. I read it, folded it up, and handed it back to him. "Too late," I said. "Please," he sobbed. "I was wrong. I was stupid. I didn't mean any of it." "Yes, you did. You meant every word, and even if you didn't, you said it. You can't unring that bell." He tried to push past me into the house, his childhood home, and I blocked him. "This isn't your home anymore. Your home is with Kevin, in that 2-bedroom apartment with 4 other kids and 2 adults who don't want you there. That's the life you chose when you decided I wasn't good enough to be your father." That was 6 months ago. Tyler aged out of the foster care system when he turned 18 last month. Kevin kicked him out the day after his birthday. He's currently living in a friend's garage, working at a fast food place, trying to save enough money for his own place. His college plans are gone. The money I'd been saving for his education, I spent it on a vacation to Europe with Sarah. His gaming setup, I sold it and bought new tools for my workshop. His room, Sarah converted it into her craft room. We completely erased him from our lives. Tyler sent me one last text on Christmas. "I understand now. You were my real dad, and I threw it away. I'm sorry." I read it, felt nothing, and blocked his number. Some mistakes are too big to forgive. Some words are too cruel to forget. And some people don't deserve second chances. Tyler learned that having a real dad isn't about DNA. It's about who shows up every single day, even when it's thankless, even when it's hard, even when the person you're doing it for thinks you're pathetic for doing it. He also learned that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are permanent. Sarah and I are stronger than ever. She tells me regularly how proud she is that I stood up for myself, how ashamed she is of how Tyler treated me, and how grateful she is that I stayed with her despite having every reason to leave. We're talking about having a child of our own, a kid who will appreciate what they have instead of mocking the person who provides it. As for Tyler, I drive past that garage sometimes. I've seen him walking to work in his fast food uniform, looking tired and defeated. Part of me wonders if he thinks about the warm bed he used to have, the gaming setup, the college fund, the father who would have done anything for him. But mostly, I don't think about him at all, because I learned something important. You can't love someone into respecting you. You can't sacrifice your way into mattering to them, and you can't buy a place in someone's heart. Tyler had 11 years to appreciate what he had. Instead, he chose to see my love as desperation and my sacrifice as pathetic. So I gave him exactly what he wanted, distance from his desperate, clingy stepfather. Now he gets to live with that choice forever. So was I wrong for permanently exiling a teenager who called me desperate behind my back? For letting his real dad handle the reality of full-time parenting? For choosing my own dignity over his second chances? I don't think so. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let people experience the full weight of their choices, even if that person is someone you used to tuck into bed at night. What would you have done in my situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story made you feel anything, justice, satisfaction, or even anger, smash that like button and subscribe. We've got more family drama coming your way, and you definitely don't want to miss what's next.